Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander, and I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, I have my co-host, Barbara, here with me. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes. Hi, Johnny. I'm here. How are you?
Great. Now, our guest today is a returning guest, Debbie Waine. And basically, after the show that we had you on, we were trying to think of reasons to have you back on, and you had mentioned that you were into gratitude, that you would help people with gratitude. And that was an idea that Barbara had, was to do a show on gratitude. And,
I remember you said that. Welcome, Debbie Waine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Barbara and Jonathan. I'm honored to be
Let's
back.
tell everybody. Yes, we just recently had you on. I loved you so much. I said, Johnny, yes, because at the end of the show you had talked about you deal with, you are, just so everybody knows, a grief coach, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Proper title, grief coach, okay? And then at the end of our show, because we did a whole show on grief, which was so helpful to me, I was dealing with my grief, and you helped me. And now I noticed that you were really into gratitude. Obviously, gratitude helps with grief so much. Can you tell us exactly how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. And my personal gratitude journey started when I hit rock bottom in my grief/widow journey. And it's so interesting that we're having this show the day after the anniversary of my husband's passing. It was 8 years ago yesterday that he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What did you do on this day? What did you do?
I did have to go to work. The day didn't start quite as I had intended. I got a couple early morning phone calls that really triggered the emotions. And I thought I had them kind of contained so that I could get through my work day, and they just started flowing. Your grief journey, you just never know when it's going to hit you. And the one thing I've learned is that through gratitude and focusing, I don't mask the feelings of the loss of him, but I really, really focus on being grateful for having him. And because I can allow myself to miss him, but then transition into really having such great gratitude for our life together and the things that we had, it helps me transition through those days. So my grief journey started about 1.5 years after Roy passed, and I had just hit a very dark place. I was not making choices that were really good choices for my life. And my sister had been practicing gratitude for, about 4 years. And she was very, very public with it. She posted 3 things she was grateful for every single day on social media. And I thought, wow, this is kind of woo-woo. Can it really do that much? And it's really been a hot topic for a lot of celebrities lately. They talk about their gratitude practices. And when I had hit rock bottom, I saw her gratitude post, and I said, you know what? What I'm doing is obviously not working for me. I'm not going in the direction I want to go, so I'm going to give this practice a try. And I've never stopped. And it really helped me. Instead of focus on what I was missing, it really helped me realize what I had. And it gave me hope again, and it gave me optimism again. And it really helped. There was a lot of other work that went into it also, but gratitude just really changed the direction of my grief journey. And so, us talking about grief in our first call, when Jonathan told me you wanted me to come back on and talk about gratitude, I was so excited because that is just the foundation of every single day of my life. And it has so many wonderful benefits that help you in life, you know. There's so many like scientifically proven benefits of gratitude. So I'm interested on if either of you two actually have a daily gratitude practice or a practice of some sort.
I do.
Well, I what I do is I sort of counter sadness with gratitude. Like, you know, I just sort of think, because a lot of times, for a long time, when I wasn't treated, you know, for my, like the other day, I was in the hospital in the emergency room with my blood pressure really, really high. And and I kept thinking to myself, you know, I mean, because what had happened was earlier in the day I had surgery. And the thing is that I've had surgery before, but the thing was that it was kind of sprung on me. The surgery was sprung on me. It was to extract the tooth.
Right.
But the surgery,
Emergency.
It was like all of a sudden I wake up, and then 2 hours later they're putting me under. And it's sort of like a little bit. You know, it's hard to relax. And what happened
that'll give anybody anxiety.
And then, when they were putting, but not just that. In the past, like a couple of days before that, I had been to the doctor like 5 or 6 times, and not always for the same thing. I mean, one of it was because of my sinus problem. The other one was because of a sinuses, and the other one was because of getting high blood pressure medicine. I had lost 2 caps on 2 different parts on my teeth. I had a tooth extracted. I had to have surgery to do it. I mean, they take me to the emergency room, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, why? You know, why is this all happening? You know, I mean, and then on the other side of it, you realize that everything is better. But the problem is that I've never been able to handle that period between it getting better, because I'm really glad I'm being treated for my blood pressure medicine, because what's happening is I worry and then I get better later on. But see, now I worry and I'm thinking, okay, something's not right. Because I don't know if you have any medical background, but like the blood pressure medicine was like 216 over something. And it was high, and I decided that, look, I just need to do something about it. You know, I mean. So
did you show your gratitude? I mean, how did you show your gratitude? How did it help you?
I was thankful that I got over it. I was thankful that I got out of it okay. I mean, I was also thankful that I had a lot of people around me who cared about me enough to make sure that I was okay. Like, you know.
But that was one every day.
Yeah, that was something that.
You do something every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. Do you have a more consistent gratitude practice? And obviously, gratitude always helps when you're in a time of crisis or in a negative situation. It can always help. But when you build that foundation of doing something every day, it changes a lot. Yeah.
What if you don't? What if you have no everyday practice? I don't know if Johnny does or not, but say he did not have an everyday practice foundation and this happens and he's all worried. What would he say to himself at that point? They wheel him into the emergency surgery room. What should he be saying to himself at that moment?
Oh, well, number one, if you have a prayer life, obviously say a prayer. But I always, when I'm in these circumstances, I look for the positives, whether it's I'm thankful for the doctors or the oral surgeon that's going to be taking care of me. I'm thankful that my pain is going to go away. I'm thankful that my blood pressure medication is being able to help control my blood pressure.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the people that are around me. I'm thankful for the taxi cab driver or the Uber driver that drove me there. I'm thankful that I was able to get here, and I'm thankful that somebody's going to be able to help me with the recovery and drive me home, that I'm not by myself. I'm thankful for the pain medication that they're giving me.
That's what I was going to say, Debbie. I was just going to say that. Thank you for the pain medication that's going to knock me out.
Yeah. And if you can just take your mind away from the stress of the situation, and you can really start just in your mind. And if you can't find something, I always laugh at this because this was my saying before COVID hit. You can always be thankful for toilet paper. And boy, was I really thankful for toilet paper when COVID hit. And everybody was hoarding, right?
Actually, there's an SNL skit that goes. It was SNL with Mayor Rudolph was doing Kamala Harris, and she goes, "Were you thankful when you got down to the last roll of toilet paper, and then you looked at the roll and you realized, well, technically it's still paper."
It's so funny because that was always like when you're just having a bad day, right? Even when I've gotten food poisoning a couple of times in the past couple months, believe it or not. And I'm like, I'm really thankful for toilet paper, and I'm really thankful for indoor plumbing. And those are like my two go-tos when I'm just like having a cruddy day. Always be thankful for those things.
Are living in the time that we are living in, because I think of that too, Debbie. I could be on a horse and carriage going across the whole, landscape
country,
of America,
or happen to go to an outhouse.
Yes,
in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh!
Barbara,
or delivering a baby at home. Oh yes, thank you for asking that. I do, and I got my book out right when you asked me that. It's a special, beautiful book by Rhonda Byrne, and it has a lot of gratitude writing and things to read, and then it has blank pages for you to write your gratitude. And my last one actually was today, and I try to do it every day. Yes, but if you write, what I do is I write down, I am grateful for something that I actually really don't have yet, but I act like I do. I'm grateful for this object that, I want, because I heard that it's
almost like an affirmation.
Yes, and is that helpful to do? Because I do that a lot, but I also say I'm grateful for my cozy corner. I love my cozy corner that I do everything in. And it's so cozy, and I already have that. So I do both. Is that good?
Oh, I think affirmations are a wonderful thing. As long as affirmations are followed by some kind of action, I think that they're amazing. It's, you can't do there's the joke about, oh, God, why won't you let me win the lottery? And God says, well, you have to buy the ticket, right? So I absolutely believe in affirmations with action. What I would challenge both of you to do, and this is, it sounds really easy when you put it out there as just a blanket statement. And I believe that there's two really great ways to do gratitude. And there's many, but I found these two very impactful. Number one, for 30 days, write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and write them down or type them on your phone or put them on your computer, whatever is your language, right? If you're a computer person, use the computer. If you love to journal, write them. But for 30 days, write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but don't duplicate them. So on day 1, if you say that you're grateful for your daughter, you can't say that again. Well, yeah, so you can say that, but if you're going to say your daughter, then you have to do another thing. So it has to be 3 new things for 30 days.
You got to start thinking.
And you really have to start thinking. And what that does when you write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and again, when you get into this routine and you go into, okay, you did your first 30 days, then you say, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to do another 30 days and try not to duplicate it again. Then you really start programming yourself, and you start throughout your day looking for things to be grateful for. And you find simple things like even like, do you guys have your favorite pen? Like the ink just flows so much better with your favorite pen, right? When was the last time you were grateful for it? Like honestly grateful for it. Or a spoon. Probably the last time you were grateful for a spoon is when you had to either stir some coffee or eat some soup and you didn't have a spoon. Right? We
exactly.
So many things.
So the little things. Don't forget the little things because they matter. I mean, that's adding up to your day. That is your day. The little things that all add up. That's your day. Wow.
Yeah,
and you know what, though? I have practiced this. I'm sorry. I just want to interject one quick thing. I've practiced it, and my daughter has watched me practice it. But then I go off of the track, and then I start complaining. Look at this mess. It's a disaster again. She goes, Mom, thankful that you have all these nice things to actually clean up.
Yeah, absolutely.
She reminded me of how
has a heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that good?
Yeah. Yes, that's wonderful. And then another way that I found really impactful in my journey, which is now about 6.5 years I've been doing this. So the next thing I've done, and I kind of change it up here and there because I never want to get bored or make my gratitude feel like it's a job. You know what I mean? So another way I've found is that I actually take one thing and dive deep into it and write like 4 or 5 sentences and just really get focused on why I am so grateful for toilet paper, right? I mean, there's the obvious, right? We all know why we're grateful for toilet paper, but if you really think about it, you're not wiping your butt with a catalog like they used to back in the olden days, or leaves, or something like that, and
poison ivy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Or a cold river.
Right, or nothing. Or your pants, I don't know. So, when you really dive deep into one thing that you're grateful for, like even if you can flip a negative and end up being grateful for it, one of the things I was grateful for the other day was traffic. And I forced myself to be grateful for traffic because I was starting to get angry in the car. And I'm like, what? The universe is trying to teach me to be patient. And guess what? I'm going to I've been listening to Clubhouse. I don't know if y'all do Clubhouse. But I've been listening to Clubhouse, and there was this great room. And I'm like, what I can do is I can listen to the rest of the show that I would have had to turn off when I went into the gym. And it's because I'm stuck in this traffic. And guess what? I have enough gas. So I thought ahead, and even though there's traffic, at least I have enough gas that I can get through this traffic. And you know what? Oh, guess what? Maybe something happened down the road, and because this traffic is bad, I'm not caught up in it. And I really helped relax my mind when I went into gratitude and went deep into why. So
it's really magical.
2 big ones. It is. And, I was writing down a few things while before I got onto the call of just some scientifically proven. You can look all over the internet, and there's all kinds of different reports and studies that have been done. But a few things that really stand out to me is when you have a really solid gratitude practice, and, maybe you don't do it every day, but you do it 5 days a week or something, it really helps us tend not to complain, like your daughter said, right? Mom, stop complaining. At least you have all of this stuff. It also tends to have people not focus on their aches and pains. So when you start a daily gratitude practice, again, you start looking for the positives, and that knee ache all of a sudden that you have, maybe it doesn't bother you quite as bad as it used to. It really helps improve mental health. It helps improve overall health. And Jonathan, one of the benefits is when people actually start a gratitude practice, it helps lower their blood pressure in many cases. Not all, but in many. And it's scientifically proven. Like, I believe that report I saw was on like psychologydigest.com or something like that. Helps reduce stress, which obviously plays into blood pressure, right? And it helps us. It actually was, I was reading this one. I tried to go in and find this so I could actually give the benefit and quote the source. But I read one time that prisoners of war were given a gratitude practice, and they had some that practiced it and some that didn't. And the ones that actually practiced it were more resilient at going through their trauma counseling, and that they actually had more success and faster success by having a daily gratitude practice. And I just thought, wow, that's amazing that you can go through a trauma like that, and gratitude can help you. I heard
Dr. Oz today even talk about it, that it is scientifically proven. And I thought, wow, that must be interesting to read some of those reports. How did they even, prove this? I guess with what you're saying, some people did it, some people didn't. Was this on purpose that they had some prisoners of war that didn't, or was that their choice, or was it
It was the study. They participated in the study. And I wish, I'll try to find that. I'll try to Google it and send it to Jonathan so that if he wants to add it into some show notes or something, I'll see if I can find that. But all I can, a lot of times, Barbara and Jonathan, I really try to go off of what's worked for me, because I think when you can give your testimony, that it's helped me with my grief journey, with elevating me out of a really dark place. And all I can say is that every day I am a glass half full kind of gal, but when I was going through my grief journey, I was positive and I tried to do everything every day, but down deep, I was just kind of, my glass was empty. It wasn't full or empty, it wasn't half full or half empty. It was just kind of empty. And gratitude helped fill it again. And it's my testimony. I like to say gratitude's my jam, because it is the foundation of my life.
You figured it out yourself. It seems like you figured it out just by watching, reading your sister's posts, and kind of just figured it out yourself back then. You didn't have a coach, did you?
I did not. Well, I had my sister, and I think we talked about how my sister's kind of my rock when we had our first call. But, she had made her gratitude very public. She posted the 3 things she was grateful for every day on Facebook. And so I decided to do what she was doing because it was working for her. And I made it public, and it was amazing how many people would, like if I didn't post, because I usually post before I went to work. If I didn't post, they're like, hey, where's your gratitude post? And, people were looking for that. And I felt like because people were, it was like they wanted to be grateful with me, and it brought more gratitude, and it gave me some accountability, and, there was all, yeah. And now I have a 30 days of gratitude program. So.
Yes. Oh, and also, I want to let everybody know where to see these posts. It's Colo Life Coach Deb, meaning COLO is short for Colorado, where you live. Yes. COLO Life Coach Deb, DEB. That's on IG. That is your username. And everybody, oh my gosh, I love your posts, Debbie. You're funny, you're fun, you're beautiful, you're creative. Your posts are amazing on Instagram. So everybody follow Debbie Waine there. But what about anywhere else? Should we look for you on Twitter or Facebook?
I'm not a Twitter user. I am on Facebook, and it's Debbie Waine's Coaching, or just Debbie Waine's. I have 2 accounts, one personal, one business. And then I have a website which houses all my programs, and that's DebbieWainesCoaching.com. And my last name does have an S on the end of it, so it's W-A-I-N-E-S.
Oh, Debbie Waine's is your name. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's
Johnny,
okay.
her name is not Debbie Waine. It's Debbie Waine.
Okay.
So Debbie Waine's Coaching on Facebook. Okay. Well,
yep.
I'm connected with you. I just wanted to give you a shout out for the listeners so they can follow you as well, because you helped me immensely, and I love your story. Your story is amazing. You were with your dream man, married to your dream man, a very, very happy marriage, and you lost him. You became a widow, and that, okay, a lot of people become widows, but when it's the love of your life, your soulmate, now that was a hard road for you. And look at you now. You came out positive. You're finding gratitude. You are showing gratitude, and you are always smiling, always smiling.
Well, life, if there's anything I learned, life can be very short. So you have to live every day to its fullest. And why continue to be negative and unhappy? Because that's not the way I want to live. And if Roy taught me anything, it was to even smile through the hard times. He was smiling all the way through his cancer. So I learned from the best, I like to say.
Yes, and if he could smile through that, then you can smile today. He would want you to smile, and that's what gave you strength as well. What would the person that has passed want for you? And I wanted to ask you last time, did you two discuss this before? I mean, you knew he was going to eventually pass. Well, I don't know if you knew that, but, I mean, he had cancer, which was terminal, correct? Did you talk about what, yes, after? Did he tell you, hey, I want you to go on, I want you to be happy? Did you have that conversation?
Oh, Barbara, we did. He even gave me a list of his friends that I could date after he was gone.
Really?
Yes.
What did you do with that?
You know what's crazy? When he gave it to me, I'm like, oh, you're just silly. And he's like, no, I surround myself with the best, so why wouldn't I? The funny thing is everybody that was on the list was already in a relationship. So I'm like, oh, so this is your safe list because they're already in a relationship.
That's funny. That is hilarious.
But he was very, very open that he wanted me to continue on, that he wanted me to be happy, that he didn't want me to be alone. And I know that it was his passing that launched me into my soul work, which is my coaching business. And I do know that I don't know that I would have found my way to coaching with him alive, because we were so happy and so content. I guess I didn't really necessarily see the need or see the passion within me to want to help others. And it took me becoming a widow and seeing the pain and going through my own pain to actually understand. So when you can actually, obviously if I could have him back, that would be my number one choice, but I can't change that. And so when you can truly be grateful that the passing of your soulmate launched you into the second half of your life, that's a pretty concrete gratitude practice. Again, of course I would want him back, but I do know that it was my widow journey that got me into my soul work. So I'm grateful for that.
And also, and all these people who loved him so much. That's so touching. And when you received a couple of phone calls before work yesterday, I'm sure that you got very emotional, because just knowing how much other people loved him and he touched their lives too, that's a touching moment. And of course you would feel, I would totally cry. But those are happy tears. You know, those are tears of, yes, happy memories.
Yes, and the fact that, you know, I'm supposed to remember that day. You know what I mean? I'm his widow, and he died in my arms, and that day is always going to be etched in my mind. That I can't ever even think about forgetting March 1st, but other people remembering the date of his passing, that's some incredible stuff, right? That they were friends, and he was that impactful of a man that I have somebody that I haven't necessarily talked to in 6 months, but they know what day it is, and they know what he meant to them. And it was that he was that moving that they wanted to call me and check on me and see how I was doing 8 years later.
Wow.
Not the next year, not 2 years, but 8 years later. You know, he was an amazing man. Yeah, he was amazing.
Wow. Well, he's looking down at you. Do you believe in this, the medium paranormal, where you can actually connect with him, communicate?
I do. Yes, I do. I very much do. I've actually gone to 2 clairvoyants since his passing. And, you know, one of them, I'm going to try to get through this without crying because it always kind of pulls at my heart. One of them told me that he had lived many lives, and that in each one of those lives, she saw a very traumatic death. Like one, he was a child and died by himself, either in a jungle or in a forest. Another, he was always by himself. Like one, he had been beaten and he had, you know, gone far away so he could die, you know, by himself and nobody would see him. And she said, you know, his gift in this life was that he died in your arms, and he finally experienced a loving death, and that's going to allow him to find that in future lives. So
that's wonderful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So she said that I was his gift in this life, and that and she told me this, and I didn't understand it at the time, but she told me that his passing was actually the launching of the second half of my life, and I didn't get that, and I didn't like it when she told me that, but now I understand it.
Now you do. What a good one you got. Okay, when you talked to the other clairvoyant, did it match?
Oh, well, it was funny because he was very present. And it was kind of a group session. And one of the ladies had stepped out because she had something traumatic happen. And so we're all sitting in this room, and she's like, okay, who is this man that's talking to me? Because he won't shut up. He is going to come through whether I like it or not. And my friend and I looked at each other and we're like, yeah, that would be Roy. And she looked at my friend and she goes, well, I'm going to start with you, pointing to my friend. And she said, because if I start with her, he's not going to shut up and let me talk to you ever. So
it was great. I love that when they really show up.
Yes,
we work with a lot of mediums, don't we, Johnny? And it's quite amazing. I mean, these people are like, hey, there's no way you would have known that. And I truly believe it. And it's a wonderful tool to use to communicate. And I feel like that can ease grief so much when you are able to communicate to the ones you've lost. I really do. I think it's a great tool, and people should really use it more.
And avail themselves to it. I'll tell you, the first one that I went to, which was the one that the second one I told you about, you know, I'd been to a couple before, but never really with an intent of me talking to somebody. And I really wanted to talk to Roy. And, you know, when it was my turn after my friend, she looked at me and she goes, you saved his shoes? And I went, what? She goes, you saved his shoes. And my friend Misty looked at me and she goes, "You saved his shoes?" And he wore house slippers. As soon as he came in, it was the first thing he did was put on his house slippers. And I felt like, people save things from people that pass all the time. Like I have a shirt and a jersey and his nightshirt. And that seems like normal stuff. But to save somebody's house slippers seemed like kind of odd to me. So I never told I didn't even tell my children that I saved them. And she knew. I had not told anybody that I had saved them. I hid them under the bed.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, you have to believe after something like that, don't you?
Absolutely. I was like, yep, he's here. She's connected. Nobody knows this. So, yep, I know he's here. Because he would be the only one that would know this.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, I wanted to ask you something that I noticed on your Instagram. It is the 100-day challenge. Do you want to tell us what that's all about? And can we join, or is it too late?
Oh, anybody can do it at any time. So I love to challenge myself all the time. So I decided that I was going to challenge myself in a physical way and a mental way. So my physical challenge is to do 125 squats, 100 full sit-ups, and 50 push-ups. And then my mental challenge is I am working daily on learning Spanish. And, I have to tell you, I probably should have thought this a little way farther. I should have been on day 6 yesterday. And again, that was the anniversary of Roy's passing. And I couldn't do it, Barbara. I couldn't do it. I had to give myself grace, and I had to allow myself to say that this is my time to have my emotions, feel my emotions, process my emotions. And it wasn't time I didn't work out yesterday. I didn't
That's
have.
okay.
Yeah, I gave myself grace. Okay. Yeah, but I think people need to realize that through their grief journey to give themselves grace to allow themselves to mourn and feel feelings and things like that. But I will tell you, as soon as I hang up with you two, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to do double duty to make up for my day that I missed yesterday.
Well, maybe I will do it at home. I don't go to a gym. I'm still too much of a scaredy cat with the germs. I was already afraid of the germs before COVID at gyms, but I could do it right here. And I worked out really hard last night by myself here, and I love it. I put the earphones in, and I dance, and then I lift weights, and I felt so much better today after doing that. But I want to start doing that. I will notice a difference in my body if I commit to something. I did a 21-day challenge once, and it was a transformation. That's all you have to do, people. Be consistent. This is your body. This is your temple. Without that, nothing's going to be going on. I mean, when you exercise, you're also giving exercise to your brain. You need to get that brain cleansed. My brain is not, I'm not as good if I don't do physical exercise. I want to know if Johnny does. Johnny, you have been quiet. Are you doing some physical exercise every single day, even if it's just walking around the house?
Honest, yeah, not since COVID, no. But soon, just because I just got on the list for the vaccine. And when I get vaccinated, I plan to do a lot more walking because it's going to be spring. And, that's usually what I do is I walk to the gas station like twice. I used to walk to the gas station like twice a day. So now I'll be able to do that once I get vaccinated, which will be soon.
Yeah, but what about doing something in the meantime? You've got to start to be creative, Johnny. You have to. I am not going to turn out like my grandpa Moore and sit, I love my cozy corner. And I could sit here all day on my phone at work, but I make myself get up, and I do not sit there all day because No, Johnny, this might be why you have that high blood pressure. You need to get yourself moving. I don't care if it's around the house. You need to get yourself moving. What do you think, Debbie?
No, you're right.
I completely
Yeah.
agree. And truthfully, if I don't know what your home is built like, but you can do laps around it, like during COVID and on rainy days and stuff. I'll do laps around my apartment and just put my headphones on, and I'll like side shuffle, and I'll just power walk around my apartment until I get 20 minutes done. You don't have walking is a great form of it. You can walk in place while you're watching your favorite TV show instead of sitting down watching it.
The beach. I don't know why he doesn't go out there and walk on that beach every day, Johnny. I don't understand that. Your back.
I live in a beach house.
Is the beach, and he does not go
I'm
out
so
there.
Jealous.
I know. I'm
yes.
going to visit. White sandy beach.
I know.
in
Even
Florida.
if you walk to the beach, put your toes in the water, and walk back to your house 5 times a day.
Mhm.
That would be awesome. Everybody
we told him
on
what
his
to do.
Instagram. Yes, everybody encourage him on the Instagram page to go get some walking in.
Yes, and is it interactive?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I say, okay, Debbie, I want to get involved in your 100-day challenge. Do people write to you and tell you what they've done? I haven't looked at it too much. I just noticed it yesterday.
You know what? It was truthfully just something I started for myself. And I had 3 people, like I post what day it is and then I got it done. And then I do a video on how you can do numerous things on Instagram. So I do a video and talk about, I'll tell you what, the sit-ups, I thought I had better abs than that. It's killing me. And I'll tell you.
Oh, everybody is during COVID. I got a little flabby. Oh, my gosh. I just had to stop eating much, and I'm down thin. So now's the time to pump up. Eat those carbs right before them. Pump up, and then you see the muscles. That's how I like doing it. I like to get thin before. If you are overweight and try to exercise that off, it's hard to see results. So people tend to quit. So the diet is so key, don't you think? I mean, diet is, I'd say that changes my body more than exercise if I am as strict on my diet.
Well, and truthfully, I'm 52, so it's really hard as you get older, and especially as a woman, to lose weight. So I live by an 80-20 rule where 80% of the time I try to eat really healthy and 20% I allow myself to have whatever I want. But yes, I totally agree that diet plays such a key role, but I also don't agree in depriving. Like nothing is off limits except things that make my tummy hurt. And otherwise, I have a sweet tooth like crazy, but I do it in moderation, not in excess.
Yes, enjoy those bites slowly.
Yes. Yes, but
I
think making things like this public, like I had a couple of people check in that I didn't do my day 6. So I had a couple of people check in, hey, where's your day 6? And then, I direct messaged them back that, hey, it's just kind of a grief day. And they're like, oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm just giving myself grace. Yeah.
That makes you human to these people that are following you.
Yeah.
That makes you so human, and you're honest, and that's what they want. They don't want, I'm just going to, not tell anybody about my grief day, and I'm going to pretend I'm really doing my 100-day challenge like nothing's going on. No, you're real, and that's what people love. They love real, and you're doing it.
Well, thank you. You're so kind.
You have all these things on your IG: fashion, workouts, coaching tips, grief, motivation, health tips. Everybody, you should follow Debbie Waine, COLO, Life Coach Deb. Easy.
Not only that, you also cover time management, right?
I do, and I would love to come back on the show and talk about that. Yeah, I use a great system called time blocking, and I have a weekly time blocking sheet that I use to set my week up for success on Sundays.
Can I find this? Because this is my biggest problem, Debbie, time.
I will send it to you. I'll direct message it to you, and then we can set up another time when I can come on, and I can share it with everybody. I can email it or direct message it to anybody that wants it, and then we can talk about it on the show, and I can walk you through how to use it.
Oh, that would be so great. I really need help with that. If there's anything in my life right now I need help with, it's that. And I heard of, putting your alarm clock on, 20 minutes, do paperwork, and then 20 minutes, do house cleaning, and kind of go off and on like that. But the 20 minutes is never enough time. So then I do 30, but then I'm into my computer for 30 minutes, and I don't want to pull myself away because I'm in the middle of the project. It's like, do you do that at all? I mean, you said time blocking, and you're going to tell me about that later and send it to me, but have you heard of the 20-minute on, 20-minute off thing?
Yes, and I don't do 20 minutes. I'll do 40 minutes, and then I set my alarm at 40 minutes, and then I allow myself 10 minutes to kind of wrap up that project, and then I move on, and I move on to the next one, and I give myself a 10-minute break in between. So, like even email in the morning, I'll set my alarm for 40 minutes, and then I'll be like, the alarm will go off, and I'll go, okay, I need to wrap this up, get through as much as I can in 10 minutes, and then I'm going to take a little bit of a break, get up, move my legs, walk around, just to kind of get your energy flowing again, and then I come back and I do the same thing. And I set up my week with time. Yeah, I set up my week on Sundays, and it's color-coded. It's an Excel sheet. It's very simple. I'm a very visual person, so I set up my week with pretty much my, time-committed, time-blocked. I have an advertising career, so that's pretty typical. It's an 8 to 5 kind of thing. I put drive time in. I put in my coaching appointments. And I give myself a visual picture of, okay, if I don't go to the gym on Monday, where am I going to fit that in? Because my health is my overall hierarchy goal of my life. And so working out and meal prepping and going to the grocery store are all things that do not get taken off my calendar. They may get moved from day to day, but they don't disappear. That's really important to me. Unless I'm going on vacation, that's different. But so I look at my week because I've set myself up, I've time blocked for the week, and I say, okay, if something happens, like I have to help a friend because their car broke down and I can't get to the gym this day, okay, where does this move? Where's my white space so I can move this into another day? And it really helps me keep my priorities straight. And then I have an overall game plan for the week. And then each day I have an overall game plan. And if you set that up the night before, it really helps.
Oh, yeah. Then you can actually complete the task. If you wake up and kind of don't know what you're doing, you dilly-dally around, make your coffee. I mean, it could be like you waste so much time. It could be noon, and then, now what do I do? And there's so many things to do. Nothing was planned. It's kind of a day that just kind of was, what did I really get done here? I did a lot of little things, but I didn't complete one whole task, which would have been easy to do if I would have planned it the night before.
Well, and here's the thing. So many people are working from home, Barbara, that you would think that you would get more done, but they're technically getting less done because of what you just said. They, spend more time drinking coffee, or they can spend more time with the kids, or lunch isn't like an hour structured the way it used to be. And so they're and they're doing laundry in the middle of the day instead of doing a chore at nighttime or on the weekends. And so we think that we have all this time to do all this stuff, and then nothing's getting really done.
Right. A lot of piles adding up all around, a lot of little projects all over the place. So time management is a huge thing for being a successful person. So Wow, you really cover the most important things, I believe. Gratitude, grief, and also time management, and probably many other things. But I have a question. Because I have a question for, I have to do something, and I don't want to do it. It's telling my father that a grade school kid that he was very close to, that I heard this guy's name all through my upbringing. My dad loved this guy. He passed away. And my mother, who's been divorced from my dad probably for 40 years, is telling me this. And I'm not sure if I really want to tell my dad. I must tell him, but he seems so vulnerable lately. So, like he says when he listens to my show, by the way, Johnny's listening to my show, he's so sentimental. He's like, I can't stop weeping. I can't stop crying when I hear your voice and listen to your show. And I'm like, Dad, it's just a show, and I'm happy, and I'm doing it every day. Why don't you feel joy when you listen to it? He just gets so sentimental when it comes to me. He hears my voice, and he starts crying. So do I really want to call him and tell him his grade school friend, passed away, when I know that he goes into these real sad times? He's very emotional. He's an emotional man. Well, I have to tell him. My question is, how do I break it to him with a way of like gratitude? This is your friend. You know, he's passed away. I don't know how to do it, Debbie.
Do you know any specific stories about this young person or this person he coached?
She will probably have many.
So what I think is that maybe you do this as, will he do like a Zoom call or something where he can see you?
No, he doesn't like the phone just like me. He only texts. He does not like the phone. But I will.
Well, I definitely think this would need to be a phone conversation for sure. And I would just make sure that your mom's there. And if you could.
My mother, what do you mean my mother is there?
Well, I would want somebody to be there with him when you have this conversation, right? So he's not just by himself.
That was his girlfriend.
His girlfriend.
Make sure she's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would truthfully, the way I would handle it is I would start talking about his coach. You said he was his coach? Is that what you said?
I was looking at my notes, and you're the coach, so I said coach. No, his grade school friends from grade. I mean, they're 75 years old now.
Yeah, and he unfortunately is probably going to expect to have some of his friends pass away, but maybe what you could do is have some of those stories from your mom that you could help him remember that he had such a true friend and that he can remember some of the happy times. And even though it is a loss, he does need to know. And maybe if you can remind him of and ask him to tell some stories and maybe get him chuckling a little bit. The one thing with grief is you're never going to take the pain away. You're never going to make the pain not happen. Grief, that's part
true.
of
Plus
grief.
He got his
is
shot.
when you.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that matters right now with COVID because people who are elderly, I mean, he's 76, not elderly, but that's getting up there. That's dangerous. They're feeble, some of them.
Yeah.
And they think, hey, I could get this and die, and I will never see my daughter again. And he won't let me come visit him. I haven't seen him for a long time. So he just wrote me today. He received his first shot. So I bet mentally he's feeling better. Because, oh my gosh, as you know, you helped me through the whole grief of my ex-fiancé. He knew him. So that was close to home. And then all these other people around him are starting to pass away. And now the grade school close friend, too. Oh. So, but you know what?
Yeah.
I shouldn't put that on me. Oh, this is going to devastate my father. My father should be able to handle this. I should be able to handle telling him.
Well, you should be able to tell him, and then you should be able to help him through the process of mourning him. And I think one of the best things to do when we're mourning somebody is to remember good memories and to remember that we're thankful that we had such a great childhood friend and that he lived to be 75. While that doesn't, sound old, it's still 75 years, and he saw so many amazing things in 75 years. What a blessing it was that he was able to make it that far. And then ask him questions about him, Did he have kids?
Okay.
Did he have grandkids? And have him talk about him and recognize, Dad, it must be hard to lose one of your childhood friends, but at the same time, what a great friend you had. And don't, unfortunately, men can be, just, and I'm sure you all can be a little bit stubborn when it comes to sharing emotions.
Yes, very true.
So if you can get him talking, or he can get, his girlfriend can get him talking a little bit, and just recognize that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad. It's not okay to stay stuck in sadness.
But he doesn't have a problem with that. He
Yeah.
does not have a problem with being sad. That's what I am worried about. He'll go for like 2 to 3 days into this depression, crying stupor. I'm sorry to say this about my dad, but he's quite emotional when it comes to, he's sentimental. Oh my gosh. And I don't want to spiral him into something. So, but that's a fear. That's a fear.
But but that just means he loves, and he's okay with loving, right? Grief is a sign that you loved this person, and I'm sure he loved his best friend or his childhood friend, whether they were best buddies or teammates or whatever they were. I'm sure he loved this person, and a lot of times when we're faced with death and somebody else's death, it makes us really take our own mortality to heart, right? So, just be on the lookout that he doesn't, spiral, and just pay attention. And if he needs it, get him help. Get him into a group or...
No, you would be the one I would suggest for him, obviously. So I want to know, are you expensive? You don't have to tell me your total price on the air, but like say somebody needs a grief coach, year one, what do? Contact you on one of the social media platforms you have, Debbie.
Yep, or send me
coaching on Facebook.
Or they can go onto my website, and there's a link in there to send me an email. And any kind of grief coaching or individual coaching, I do more on a one-on-one basis, because it could be something that somebody just needs help organizing their home, and, that's going to be a couple of weeks, right? Whereas somebody may have some big business goals to set up, and that's quarterly. So those packages just vary based on how many weeks they're going to be. Yeah.
I didn't know you did that too. You organize people's homes?
Oh, I do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, my gosh, Debbie. Oh, I got to really tune in more to. You know what? I just put on my alerts on your Instagram that I am alerted to every single post you do. IGTV, live, post, everything. I just put on, alert me to everything this Debbie's doing, because I need it. My house, I cannot seem to get it organized because it's too much stuff. So I'm purging right now, and I need tips, and I bet I can find them through you.
I haven't really put a whole lot of that on my social media, but I literally am right now helping an author that wants to start writing a book that can't get through her blockage because she has mounds of stuff and she can't focus. And so we decided the first thing she needed to do was clean up and get herself a really conducive space of sitting down and writing her book. And she happens to live here, and when I got into her room or into her house, I was like, oh my goodness, how do you do anything in this space?
Anything. No, anything. You can't focus.
Yes. So that's what started it. But I am very much a minimalist, and part of that comes from having people that have passed away and having to go through all of their stuff. And I don't want to leave that burden on my children, because I've had to do this with my mom, my grandmother, my husband, and I don't want anybody to have to go through all my stuff. It's very,
I think
I'm a
about
minimalist.
that. It's a weird thing, but I do think about that. Like, if I die, you never know. This is what somebody's going to come in and see. Is this what I want them to see? No.
And to have to go through. Who sorts through all this stuff? But it can seem overwhelming and daunting until you break it down into little bite-sized chunks.
And there's also a thing on Facebook that you can fill out for if you want your Facebook to go on. It's a memorialization or something they call it. And I appointed my best friend Kurt. He's my agent and best friend. He's the only one who can take my computer and go through it. I wouldn't care what he saw. He's my best friend. You know what? He's the only one, though, and he can go in there. And you know what he does when people die? If he knows if they were a model with him or something, he will get them on the cover of People magazine. That's not why I'm choosing him, but I'm just saying this guy is amazing.
Somebody you trust. And somebody you trust. Yeah.
So think about that.
We can do a whole nother show on setting up your family for success if you pass away. That's a whole another show that we could do. And
wow, Johnny, so many surprises from Debbie. Wow. Okay. Well, let's do that. We'll choose one of these things for next time. But thank you so much for coming on. We learned so much. I wrote a lot of notes down. And I also sent you on Messenger the little book that I use. It's beautiful. And go out and get a special book for just your gratitude
a journal.
daily.
Yeah.
A journal to write your gratitude journal. Get one. And go follow Debbie everywhere. Facebook and Instagram. And her website. That's the most important to book you for all of these wonderful things. Could you tell us your website one more time, please?
Yes, it's Debbie, Debbie, Waine, WAINES, coaching.com. DebbieWainesCoaching.com.
Okay. That's what I had down. So good, because I was spelling it with a Y instead of an I, Waine. Plus,
most people do.
Yeah.
When I met Roy, that's how I spelt it until he corrected me.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, that's my name. Awesome. So, Debbie, I can't wait to have you back for the organization show. Other people might want the other one about after you pass, but I really need some tips. But in the meantime, I'm going to follow you on Instagram and Facebook. Get those tips that you do have out there and just work on it. And you know what, people? We have a brain. Think about it. Figure out a system to organize your files and figure out a system and see what's not working. Figure out what does work for you, because if you're not organized and you've got a lot of clutter around, you're not going to be as productive. And we want to be productive and grateful. And let's be grateful for being cluttered, because now we have this tool that we're grateful for, these tools from Debbie, to go take care of it. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm going to say it 3 times. Here we go.
Well, I am very grateful that you all trust me with your listeners, and that you had me back on the show, and that your grief journey is also moving forward. We talked a little bit about that. So I'm very thankful that you are being able to process the grief that you experienced recently too. So.
Oh, yes, that was a wonderful experience talking to you about it, because it was so helpful, because I felt so alone, because people were wondering why I was grieving an ex. Well, because maybe I'm the type of person who does not remember just the bad. I like to focus on the good. And so you were so helpful, because I was feeling so lonely at that. Those 2 weeks were really hard, and you helped me immensely
And it's a wonderful thing to have a forgiving heart.
Yes.
Which is what
Thank
you
you.
is what you have. Yes, it's a gift.
And we just want to honor your husband who passed 8 years ago. We want to honor him. The anniversary was yesterday. Roy, what a great man he was. What an amazing thing he's done in your life, really. And,
yes,
you know, hey, rest in peace, because Debbie, she's holding your torch, and she's never going to stop.
I am.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You just made me smile ear to ear.
Yep, good. All right. So, Johnny, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. I think you want to do the shout out?
Sure. Okay. So many times I have told you where to find Debbie Waine. Okay, she has a huge presence on Instagram. Follow her there and on Facebook. And also, you know, go back, listen to the show. It's going to be on our YouTube channel momentarily, Life, Laughter, Happiness YouTube. Also, we will post the link to the show on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with Debbie's links, okay? But if you ever forget anything, just remember one thing, her website. That will lead you to everything else, DebbieWainesCoaching.com. So thank you, Debbie, so much, and we can't wait to have you back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hopefully we'll send you some people, too. All right.
Awesome.
Good night, everybody.
Thank
have
you.
a great
Good
night.
Good night.
Good night,
Bye,
Debbie.
Debbie.
Good night, Barbara.